This is the first joint global forum with Hollywood Foreign Press Association and the World Bank. By partnering with Hollywood and many other leaders in the entertainment industry, we have generated evidence on how powerful this tool really is in changing attitudes and behaviors and mobilize social action towards a better world.
Frankly, banks work with the government, and they must work with the government for banks to stay afloat. So one of the key things we have to do is get the government in league with the understanding that this is one of our largest taxable resources. This is one of the key elements that we have here. If we're going to give grants, why aren't we giving them logically? So that all grants go in to repair in a whole way, so that there's a wholeness to the grants that we give, so that we organize our grant giving, so that when we're reparative, we repair in a wholeness.
This is exactly what we're here for, to understand how we can collaborate in a very cohesive manner and bring unity to our common efforts from the development sectors and the entertainment sector, and work together to really affect change in the world.
I think in New York, people look at the United Nations and they see this glass building on First Avenue and they imagine the diplomats inside and what they're doing. The UN is much, much more than that. The UN is everywhere in the world. We are also in the form of the normative rules that become laws in many countries and regulations that enable us to live in a world that is interconnected with multiple problems and challenges. So how do we communicate that to the world without using the language of the resolutions, which are written in what we call UNEs? And growing up, for me, television was a window into the world. I learned English from television. I went to a school run by the United Nations as a refugee. So for me, my work for the last 10 years sort of brings the two together. It's the opportunity to reach a wider audience other than just the journalists that we talk to and we share stories with. We hold press conferences, we still do all that. But what I have been involved with directly in the last 10 years at the UN is how do we bring the UN and what happens in the UN, the stories from the UN, the concept and the principles to the widest possible audience, not as a direct advertising, not as, this is what we are telling you because we are the United Nations, this is what world leaders have agreed to. No, through soft messaging in a way that is more engaging, that will actually, and most recently, we recognize that the way to really change behavior and change people's minds is through stories.
Madeline is president and CEO of the Gina Davis Institute in Gender in Media. And she will talk to us about gender portrayals in media.
If the unprecedented challenges of the past few years have taught us anything, it's been about the importance of collaboration, creative ingenuity, and unity to drive systemic change, which is what we're talking about. And when we think about some of those challenges, caregiving is one of the greatest challenges that impacts all of us on a global and a daily basis. So I'm going to talk about how caregiving has played out in TV and how we can work to change the world one story at a time.
That it's not just celebrity for its own sake or as social marketing, but to pass the mic, as our colleague in the one program just said, to use the celebrity to bring the platform to the people who have not been heard, who need to be heard.
I mean, for me, honestly, this is a no-brainer. I don't understand why the entertainment world has not, done more, to be honest, because if we can use shows and entertainment to further this cause, I just don't understand why we're not doing it, to be honest. We have how many television viewers? Over 5 billion, is it 5.4 billion television users, 5 billion smartphone users. I mean, it seems like, it's a perfect scenario for the entertainment world to go out and really make a change in this world, right? So, I mean, I've myself watched shows on, HBO had several shows built around, powerful storylines involving HIV and AIDS and, climate change. And I think those topics can really be included more. I think we can build on that. I think storytellers have to come out and just reimagine what stories they want to tell, and really use the storytelling in a positive way, and build on that, and engage the audience. It's as we know, it's not a one-way street anymore. There has to be definitely communication and ideas, and I think there's just so many ideas that could be really have an impact on all our lives. So I'm actually a little bit puzzled why this is not done more, to be honest.
But the research for the industry shows that consumers, especially millennials and Gen Z, they want to work for companies that do good. They want to buy products from companies that do good. It is a competitive advantage in the marketplace, apart from you should do it because it's the right thing to do.
At the individual level, talent, celebrities, storytellers may not find it expedient, may not find it profitable, or they don't have the knowledge, or they haven't really gotten the information about how this can help their brand. But I do think that if we have, like the HFPA, we have such kind of associations of entertainers where they come together and collectively decide that this is something we need to do because we know the influence that we wield over populations in terms of how we help to change or catalyze change in a particular way, even negative changes. So they're the trailers, they basically trail the blaze for all kinds of things. So if we are able to get this kind of collective to also think about the positive impact that they can have in terms of not just the content of what they do, but even the way they portray some kind of culture and norms, right? Especially talking about the things that Madeleine talked about, the level of consciousness that we cannot perpetuate existing stereotypes unless to be doing that, we have to be deliberate. And as such, at that collective level, take a decision such that script writers and actors and actresses can at least have that as a kind of indicator to say, are you perpetuating some stereotypes that have negative consequences by this story? And then be more conscious of that. So I think collective action is important.
I think, because our membership is so diverse and we come from 55 different countries, and hopefully from, many more countries in the future as we're adding more members to our organization, I think we have a very good perspective on what is going on in the world and the cultural beat on really the entertainment world around everywhere. So, our members have historically awarded, people that other award shows haven't. So, especially people like, for example, Guillermo del Toro, or just this year we awarded Squid Game. So, and those are things that I think we're seeing very much our organization is pointing out. The world has grown. We are very proud of being trailblazers when it comes to finding hidden gems and talent from around the world. And, I think in that way we can introduce, new talent to the world, and also see how important it is to have this talent speak out about certain issues. I think this is, for us foreigners, especially important, and as the world grows more and more.
What are the commercial incentives, right, for scaling up edutainment? And a good statistic is that as Netflix subscriptions are saturated in the US and other developed countries, subscription rates in developing countries are rapidly growing. So there's also that commercial angle of producing more diverse, more global stories that are being consumed in developing countries, major clients of Netflix and many other producers and distributors of entertainment media. To your question, edutainment, that positive movie, documentary can hit the right notes for you to empathize towards other groups and change your attitude and behaviors in a positive manner. But sometimes you need reinforcers, right? Because ultimately you will go back to your community, to your own reality, right? So reinforcers are good to remind you about that connection you had with that character, right?
So we've seen the power of music in mobilizing, basically. And these artists, these talents who already have their followers, when they feature in a song, their fan base are actually looking out for what they are bringing out, what they are producing. And when they see such kind of collaborations and they see their favorite artists talking about a specific issue, it becomes an issue of interest for them.